Greetings and namaskar. Welcome to the podcast Stories of an Era Gone By. I am Dr. Shubho Chatterjee. In this podcast, I'll travel with you to different points in history and pick up interesting stories and incidents from those periods. Incidents that changed our lives or had an impact on the way we live. It is estimated that our planet Earth came into existence around 4.5 billion years ago. And the first human to ever walk on this planet appeared around 3.4 to 2.4 million years ago. Ever since, man has been toiling hard and making an incessant effort to make this world a better place and a comfortable place for him to live. Over this long journey spanning epochs and ages, man has been exploring the unknown and making new discoveries. He has invented things, come up with new ideas, made improvisations, churned up new thoughts, developed new processes, and transformed the world around him. His activities, achievements, discoveries, and inventions have a bearing on our life today. Though our present cannot be shackled by our past, but our past does determine our present and our future. Thus, a man's curiosity about his past and his history is very natural and very human. Many a times, when we look at an object, a thing, or a process, oftentimes a very simple one that forms an integral part of our life today, we wonder who invented it or who conceptualized it for the first time. At the same time, there are a number of things around us which are not only considered as bare essentials for life and living, but are taken so much for granted that we fail to fathom and imagine that at a point in history, these so-called essentials were completely non-existent. Someone, somewhere, at a far-off period, or maybe not so distant an era, would have conceptualized and designed these things to be handed over to posterity. These people and their creations connect us to our past and to antiquity. I am your host, Dr. Shubho Chatterjee, and this podcast, Stories of an Era Gone By with Dr. Shubho Chatterjee, brings to you stories and snippets from the past. This podcast is about history and historical facts related to people, things, and places. Each episode of the podcast will narrate to you a curious and an interesting story of some person, incident, or place from an era gone by. I'll be happy if you join me in this journey of exploring our past. I also take this opportunity to thank you from the core of my heart for showing interest in this podcast. In this podcast, I'll be coming up with an interesting story every fortnight. So stay tuned for the upcoming episodes of the podcast, Stories of an Era Gone By with Dr. Shubho Chatterjee. Thank you for listening.